No word yet if conservative commentator Pat Buchanan will return to the air over at MSNBC. Buchanan was yanked back in October around the time of the publication of his book, Suicide of a Superpower. The book includes chapter titles like The End of White America and The Death of Christian America. At the time, the network's president, Phil Griffin, said he didn't think the content of the book should be a part of the dialogue at MSNBC. Buchanan speaking out this week, though, saying he is the victim of, quote, the hard left, among others. Joining us now is author and journalist Liz Trotta, a Fox News contributor. And Liz, does he have a point? Is he being victimized by the left that's pressuring MSNBC?
Good afternoon. Of course he's being victimized. You know, when Phil Griffin, the head of MSNBC, put out his statement on Buchanan, he used that liberal buzzword, appropriate. This is not appropriate for national dialogue. Well, I mean, when has he put himself in charge of being an arbiter of freedom of speech in this country? I've read the book. It's jam-packed with facts, mind you,
right,
and of some opinion. But he's been mercilessly assailed by the homosexual lobby, by very left-wing, hard left people who were charging him, groups who say he's he's a racist. Colorofchange.org, that was founded by Van Jones. You remember him? He was a green czar in the Obama administration until it got too hot for him and he had to be fired. You know, when we really come to the point now where you can't, you're on a media channel, you cannot express your own opinion,
right,
then really the other side has won, don't you think?
Well, first of all, ideas with which we disagree or even hate should not be banned, but they should be refuted. However, Liz, you would agree that the First Amendment doesn't really apply to a for-profit corporation in private industry. Only the government is prohibited from restricting free speech.
Well, I know better than to get into a discussion with a lawyer such as yourself. But let's take a look at what I think is the essence of the book. And it's a quote from the Buchanan book. And it reads thusly: "Today, freedom takes a back seat to equality. One nation under God, indivisible, has become an antique concept in an age that celebrates diversity and multiculturalism.
Yeah.
Our intellectual and cultural elites reject the God our parents believed in and the moral code they lived by." Well, I don't quarrel with that, and I'm sure many don't. But even those who do, Pat Buchanan, 3 times presidential candidate, author of one bestseller after another, conservative commentator, liked by just about everybody. I mean, this is absurd.
But Liz, I've read passages of the book as well, and he does appear to lament the browning of America. Quote, by 2020, deaths among white Americans will exceed births, while mass immigration is altering forever the face of America. I mean, you can clearly see that might offend some people as
well. No, I think if they're straight thinking, they can't be offended. Those are facts. And he's talking mainly, by the way, in that chapter about the northern flight of Mexicans, and these are illegals. And, you know, we're at the point now where it's, let's just open it up and have California be Mexico, which, by the way, is something that leaders of the activist immigration groups, Hispanic groups, have called for openly.
Let me ask you this. I wonder if there is a very conspicuous double standard at MSNBC. Full disclosure, I used to work there. Here's why I ask this, because Al Sharpton's rhetoric and past deeds have clearly on many occasions been called racist, yet MSNBC gives Sharpton his own show. Buchanan and a fellow by the name of Don Imus utter or write things that are condemned as racist, and they either get fired completely in the case of Imus, or in the case of Buchanan, they get taken off the air. Is there a double standard? Does MSNBC make its decisions through the prism of race?
Well, I don't think there's a double standard in the classical sense, because MSNBC has become close to being a communist channel. I mean, this is just outrageous. Little by little by little, they have moved all the talent that they support so far left. And no one will touch Al Sharpton for making anything that might be considered an anti-white comment. I mean, that just would not happen.
My question is, if an African American says something that's arguably racist, he doesn't get fired. He gets his own show.
Of course not. It's encouraged.
All right. And I wouldn't say that all of their talent has moved to the left. I'd cite Chris Jansing as very fair and balanced, right down the middle. At any rate, Liz Trotta, thank you so much for your commentary. Good to see you.
Thank you, Greg.